And joining me now is Scottie Nell Hughes. She is a Donald Trump supporter. Scottie, I want to talk about, obviously, this controversy that's actually overshadowing what we thought would be the big story, which is Hillary Clinton being interviewed by the FBI. Today, Donald Trump tweeted about this 6-point star today. He said, dishonest media is trying their absolute best to depict a star in a tweet as Star of David rather than a sheriff star or plain star. But this isn't a plain star. You know, a plain star has 5 points. Why can't he just admit that this was a mistake?
Well, this is because it's absurd, foolish, and ludicrous that we're talking about this on day 3. As your package before even pointed out, this is a planned pattern. Every time there is a story exposing Clinton corruption with her campaign or her herself, somehow magically we have this controversy, this petty controversy.
Well, not magically. I mean, in fairness, Scottie, we didn't tweet out the 6-pointed star. Donald Trump did. Was he trying to overshadow what's been going on?
Absolutely not. This is a tweet that has been passed around, which was also said in that package, has been passed around. This tweet was originally posted by its creator on June 15th. That means 3 weeks it's had to circulate around social media. So to automatically assume, which is what many people have done, that this was taken from a message board, an anti-Semitic message board, is not only wrong, it's absolutely irresponsible for someone to do. This is something that's been passed around amongst the media. Somebody grabbed it with the Trump campaign or Mr. Trump himself, and to correct one of the facts in that package, the tweet is still up. The generic graphic of the star has just been replaced by a circle underneath it.
No, the tweet is not. No, Scottie,
yeah,
Scottie,
it's still up. It's still up right here.
The tweet, the original tweet. Can we put that back up? The original tweet
with the generic graphic of the star is down.
Scottie,
but this is up.
Scottie, if I may, the way Twitter works is that this tweet was put up, then deleted. Well, actually, this tweet was put up, then the tweet to the right was put up, and then the tweet to the left was deleted. That is actually what happened.
This is the same exact, the verbiage and everything is still the same
It's
thing.
not the same tweet, Scottie. It's not the same tweet.
It's missing the
Scottie,
generics.
it is not the same tweet. In fact, at one point in time,
you're talking. Once again, now if we want to get into the generics of the star, and we sit here, it's not the Star of David technically. If we want to go over this, but once again, this is why Mr. Trump is saying that certain media are sitting here trying to paint him to be hateful and anti-Semitic, and it's not.
Well, if he didn't do anything wrong, then why did he replace it with a circle? That's implicit in there. Is that something needed to change?
Well, because the point is that Hillary Clinton, history made, the most corrupt candidate ever, because we have a candidate who was interviewed for 3.5 hours.
Scottie, that's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you.
Because it's still the truth of the
Why did he change it if it's not? Why did he change it to a circle if the first one was A-OK? He could have just left it up, and he didn't. Because
give it the benefit of the doubt, let's actually just change it just to have not the whole idea of making this blow up. Let's just not have that. Let's actually let people focus on what the meme was about and what it was saying, not necessarily this foolish sort of painting that we've done to try to paint him as anti-Semitic. Which brings me to the point of who really is anti-Semitic, who really does not support Israel, which is what's funny that's coming out of Hillary Clinton in her statement, considering she is the woman who has taken millions of dollars from countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, who refuse to actually acknowledge the Jewish state of Israel. That right there is lacking support for the Jewish people. So you want to talk about facts versus just assumptions? The fact is that the Hillary Clinton campaign...
Okay, Scottie, let's talk about facts. Let's talk about facts.
Okay.
Okay, you say this is a sheriff's star. You say that, right?
Yes. Several sheriff's departments around the country have used that same star.
Okay, let's put up pictures of sheriff stars. Okay.
I can't see those. I apologize.
Okay, well then here, let me describe them to you, and hopefully you will take my word for it. All of them have embellishments of circles on the point. On the points of them, some of them are 5-pointed, some of them are 6-pointed. They almost all, overwhelmingly, have an embellishment that this star does not have. It is a different shape than the star that he put up in his initial tweet. And if there was no intention of anti-Semitism, and look, that's a possibility, although the campaign isn't saying that, they aren't coming out and saying that, why doesn't Donald Trump just say he's sorry that people were offended or that it was something that was offensive, even if it wasn't intentional?
Because this is just crazy that we're covering it. But you know, it's funny that you point out the embellishments of the sheriff's star. Well, the true Star of David, it itself has to be defined. It actually has to have two defined, drawn triangles within the star itself to be the technical Star of David. Now, some different stars of different countries refused to have that when we were going through the Holocaust, but it just shows right now that this is people who are trying to paint him to be as anti-Semitic when it is an absolute false narrative, and I think it's foolish. Hence why the Trump campaign themselves are not really even responding out to this, because this is all meant to paint him in a false, negative light. So why even give it any more attention than it deserves?
Well, Scottie, by not responding, they are giving it attention. That's just how this works. You know how these things work in politics. And I wonder, why can't he just say that this was a mistake? And it sounds like that's what you believe. But by not just saying that, he is allowing this conversation to take place amid a big negative story for Hillary Clinton. If he just dispensed with this, he would let what is really not good for her, this 3.5-hour interview with the FBI, be the sole focus. Is he unable to admit that he made a mistake to a point that he's being self-destructive?
I think possibly he might admit that if the same network would sit there, if the same media folks would say that, automatically assuming that he got this from a anti-Semitic KKK message board, and they automatically have, that's what they've been reporting.
Well, does the chain,
that's where he got this from, because you can't guarantee that. How about that?
Scottie, does the chain of custody of this image, which did originate on an anti-Semitic white supremacist message board, does the chain of custody changing absolve him and the campaign of taking this and putting it out as their content? Is that what you're saying?
It actually did not originate. The actual creator of it posted on his Twitter account first, back, like I point out, on June 15th. This same gentleman has 998 followers. Now, because it's almost impossible to find that same message board, and frankly, I didn't want that amongst my Google search.
No,
it's
we
hard
found
to
it.
say whether
No,
he's
Scottie,
the one,
Scottie,
but it was
we
not
found it.
created
Again,
for that message board.
Scottie,
it was
we
a
found it.
post
This is where
that board. Somebody posted it. The board did not create it. That's where you've got to sit here and say this was not created
why did Donald Trump post it then?
Well, that's the thing. It's been circulated around. You cannot sit there and just assume
I mean, I
that's
get
where
it.
he got it from.
Why didn't he vet it? I get this is a small campaign, but just taking a random image that the campaign did not create and posting it out, I guess I'm asking because to me, that may indicate, and maybe it was a mistake, but it seems to indicate a carelessness while the world is watching. And while if Donald Trump is in the White House, the world will be watching even more.
Well, I think, you know, if you want to sit there and criticize, say, listen, there wasn't a good vetting process for things taken off, I think that is a very viable
Well, but
criticism.
we don't know that, Scottie, because the campaign isn't even explaining what happened.
Because you've automatically tried to paint him as being anti-Semitic.
No, we welcome the questions. I mean, we welcome this question and answer.
If you wanted to sit there and say that your argument is that there's obviously not enough staff to sit there and have a vetting process, I think that's a good question. The problem is you've tried to turn this to paint him in a hateful light, and that's where the problem is.
I am not. I am asking what happened.
Well, if you want to talk about what happened, but the problem is you're already saying this comes from an anti-Semitic KKK website. It obviously shows because there's money behind it. All I've heard for the past few days from those on the left and the progressive media has been that this was actually a focused attempt to sit there and disparage the Jewish people and to paint the Jewish people by Mr. Trump in a bad light. That's the problem with this. If you want to have an honest discussion and say, you know what, maybe the Trump campaign is starting, needs a better vetting process, I think that's a very honest conversation we need to have. Not necessarily to sit there and paint him in a negative light. That's assuming.
Well, you know
right
what?
there.
I will tell you, Scottie, it is a conversation that we welcome having, and we wish that the campaign, would discuss it, but they're not at this point.
I think we've discussed that the campaign needs to grow. I think we've discussed that the campaign is having to beef up, to sit there and fight the 700 people or 800 people that work for the Hillary Clinton campaign. We already know that the Trump campaign is growing daily, and this is just one of those issues as they continue to bring staff on.
All right, Scottie Nell Hughes, thank you so much. We'll be right back.